Okay, so in the last class we have seen about the inductor. Okay, we have seen about the inductor. Okay, so what is the inductor? The ability of the coil to produce the flux for a given current. Okay, it's called as inductor value. Okay, so in simple sense, ability of coil to produce ability of the coil to produce flux for a given current is called as inductance. Okay, if some coil produces more flux for less current, then that means it is having more inductance value. Okay, and finally we have derived the L value depends on the dimensions and also the permeability of the medium. L is equal to mu n square A divided by L Henry. Okay, so the coil inductance depends on this parameter mu n square as well as A and L. Okay, so again apart from this we have seen some other formulas. Okay, so we have seen one more formula like this. Okay, the total flux produced is equal to L into I. Okay, so for a given current, if you have more inductance value, then you can produce more flux, or for a given inductance value, if you have more current, then also you can produce more flux. Okay, so that's why psi finally is equal to L into I. Psi means total flux. Okay, total flux produced by the coil is equal to the inductance value and the current value. Okay, inductance value and the current value. Okay, so in this class we'll see about the mutual inductance. Okay, mutual inductance. Okay, again the mutual inductance is based on the concept of Faraday's electromagnetic induction. Okay, Faraday's electromagnetic induction. Okay, so now the concept of mutual inductance, mutual inductance concept of mutual inductance and mutually induced EMF and mutually induced EMF. Okay, so as per the Faraday's electromagnetic induction law, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, okay, the EMF will be produced. Okay, EMF will be produced. Okay, if there is a change in flux. Okay, if there is a change in flux. Okay, so if there is a change in a flux around a conductor, then EMF will be produced. Okay, again in two ways you can make the change in flux. Change in flux in the sense it's like a time varying flux. The flux has to vary with respect to time. Okay, so that's why we used to write like this: d pi by dt. EMF induced is directly proportional to d pi by dt. Okay, so change in the flux can be produced in two ways. Either the one way is you can move the magnet. Okay, by moving the magnet you can change the flux, or by moving the conductor you can change the flux. Okay, so there are generally three ways. The one way is move the magnet. Okay, one way is move the magnet. By moving the magnet you can change the flux, or the another way is move the conductor with respect to magnet. Okay, move the conductor with respect to magnet. In that case also you can change the flux, or otherwise you can produce time varying flux by having with AC supply. Okay, if you have AC supply, okay, once if you pass the AC current through some conductor, then it produces the time varying flux, because when the conductor is there, okay, if you pass DC current, then it produces constant magnetic field. Okay, it will produce constant magnetic field. Suppose if you pass AC current through conductor, then it will produce time varying magnetic field. Okay, it will produce time varying magnetic field. Okay, so again this concept, the third concept, is actually used in the transformer. Okay, so the first two case is called a dynamically induced EMF. Okay, dynamically induced, dynamic in the sense either magnet is moving or conductor will be moving. Okay, either magnet will be moving or the conductor will be moving. That's why the first two case is called dynamically induced EMF. Okay, dynamic, this is dynamic technique. Here the third case is static. Okay, nothing is moving here, but we are generating the time varying flux with the help of time varying current. Okay, so that's why the third technique is called the static technique. Okay, statically induced EMF. Okay, so now in the transformer, we are using static technique only because the transformer is always static, both primary and secondary, but somehow we are using the concept of the mutual inductance. It's because of AC. So that's why when you go for transformer, always you should use AC signal only. Okay, so the transformer will work always with the AC. The transformer will not work for DC. Okay, the transformer will not work for DC. The transformer will work for only AC. Okay, the transformer will work only for AC because it needs the time varying current. Okay, because if the time varying current is there, then only it will produce time varying flux. Then the concept of mutual inductance comes, the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Okay, so now we'll see the basics of transformer. Okay, so again the concept of transformer is mutual inductance. Okay, concept of transformer is mutual inductance, that you should know. Okay, so concept of transformer is mutual inductance. Concept of transformer is mutual inductance. The basic principle of the transformer is mutual inductance. Okay, now we take the transformer. Generally the transformer will have primary coil and secondary coil. Okay, again the number of turns in the primary may be high or low. Depending on that, it may be classified like a step up transformer or step down transformer. Okay, so this is number of turns in the primary side N1, number of turns in the secondary side is N2. Now again here there will not be a physical connection. Okay, there will not be physical connection between the primary and the secondary, but it consists of some core material. Okay, again this may be air also, no problem, this may be air also, but the practical transformer, if you see, it consists of some core. Okay, some material will be there. The job of this material is, okay, to support the flux to go from the primary to the secondary. That's it. Okay, so to support the flux to go from primary to the secondary, even it can be air also, because even in air the flux will go, but if you provide some material, then that will allow more permeability. So it will have more permeability, then the more flux can go from primary to the secondary side. Okay, so again the losses will be less actually. Okay, so this is number of turns N1 and N2. In general, when we analyze the transformer, we'll assume that current is entering into the transformer. Okay, the current actually, the secondary side, the current may be leaving, no problem, but while analysis, it's like a two-port analysis, we assume that the current is entering into the transformer. Now this is the primary voltage V1, this is the secondary voltage V2. Okay, so again based on what concept it is, you see, you are applying the voltage. Okay, say for example you are applying the voltage, time varying voltage at the primary side. Okay, you are applying the time varying voltage at the primary side, then what happens, the time varying current flows in the primary of the transformer. Okay, whenever the time varying current flows through the inductor, okay, it is like an inductor. Okay, whenever the time varying flows through the inductor, then what happens, it produces the time varying flux. Okay, when the time varying current flows through the inductor, it produces the time varying flux. Then what will happen, there will be the flux around this primary. Okay, there will be the flux around this primary. Then this flux is not a static flux, it is a time varying flux. Okay, then what happens, this time varying flux will interact with the secondary conductor. Okay, the time varying flux will interact with the secondary conductor. Okay, as per the electromagnetic induction law, okay, whenever there is a time varying flux around the conductor, then it will produce EMF. Okay, so here the time varying flux is produced by the primary side, then that is linking with the secondary coil, then the EMF will be induced in the secondary coil, then the EMF will be induced in the secondary coil. Okay, so suppose if it is DC, okay, if it is DC, then what is the EMF induced in the secondary coil? Zero only if it is DC. Okay, because DC is like a static. Okay, static current flowing means it will produce static magnetic field. Okay, once if the magnetic field is static, then the flux will be static. Once the flux is static, then you will not get any EMF at the secondary side, because what the formula is telling, always EMF is directly proportional to the d pi by dt. Okay, so if you are using DC, it is like a static, then flux will become static, like a constant, then differentiation of constant is always zero, then your EMF will be zero. That's why always for transformer, you have to use AC signal. Okay, the transformer will not work for DC signal. Okay, that idea you should have. Okay, again, the EMF induced at the secondary side, we'll call it as like a V2. Okay, EMF induced at the secondary side, we'll call it as like a V2. And then because of this EMF, again, based on the load at the secondary side, some current will flow. That current we call it as I2. Okay, now V1 is we are applying, I1 is flowing due to V1. Okay, and again, flux is created, the flux is linking with the secondary coil. Because of the flux linkage, V2 EMF is induced. Because of that, I2 is flowing. Okay, so only we are doing only one thing, we are applying just V1 for the transformer, rest of the things happening automatically based on N1 and N2. Now, in general, what is the relationship for the transformer, current and voltage relationship? Okay, simply remember like this. Okay, it's like V2 divided by V1 means N2 divided by N1. Then the current will be in opposite nature. Then this will be I1 divided by I2. Okay, this is the voltage, current, and turns ratio relationship for the transformer. Okay, so V2 divided by V1 is equal to N2 divided by N1 is equal to I1 divided by I2. Suppose, for example, if you take, say, for example, if you take N2 greater than N1, okay, so what happens? Suppose this is V2 divided by V1, okay, is equal to N2 divided by N1. I can split this equation. Suppose, and again, if it is I2 divided by I1, then it will become like N1 divided by N2. Say, for example, you took secondary turns ratio greater than the primary turns, number of turns at the secondary side is greater than the number of turns at the primary side. Now what happens? See, this N2 by N1 is greater than 1, then your voltage at the secondary side is getting amplified. Okay, it is getting amplified. Okay, now V2 is greater than V1. But what happens to I2? I2 is N1 divided by N2, but if N2 by N1 is greater than 1, then N1 divided by N2 is less than 1. Then what happens to I2? I2 is less than I1. So what is happening here? See, when you are boosting your voltage, okay, if your transformer is boosting the voltage, then it cannot boost the current. Okay, the current value will be degraded. Okay, similarly, it will happen in the opposite way. If you try to boost the current, then the voltage will fall. Okay, the voltage value will go down. Okay, so at any point of time, you can either improve the voltage or either you can improve the current, but you cannot do both at a time. Okay, that is the operation of the transformer. Okay, if you try to increase the voltage, the current will decrease at the secondary side. If you try to increase the current at the secondary side, then the voltage at the secondary side will be reduced. That is the concept of transformer. That's why always, if you see that in the transformer, the power at the input side, at the output side, always equal. So for a transformer, V1 I1 is equal to V2 I2. Okay, you are having this relation. With this relation, you can prove this. Okay, so the power input to the transformer and the power output of the transformer is always same. Okay, so that's why it is not producing any extra power. That's why the transformer is called as passive device. Okay. Okay, if it is active device, then it will produce extra power. It is not producing any extra power. Okay, the input power is equal to output power. So the transformer is always a passive device. Transformer is not a active device. Okay, so this is the simple relationships. Okay, next again, what is happening to the flux? Okay, how the flux is linking. Okay, then how we are getting the mutual inductance. Step by step, we'll see. This is your primary. Okay, the secondary I1 is flowing here. Okay, so again, because of I1 is flowing here, this will have some L1. Okay, it will produce some flux here. Okay, so that flux in the coil 1 due to current I1, I call it as pi 1. Okay, flux produced by the coil 1 due to the current I1, I call it as a pi 1. Okay, and then what happens? See, phi 1 flux is with us, then part of the flux is linking with the secondary coil. Okay, this is primary, this is secondary. Okay, part of the flux is linking with the secondary coil. Now I write pi 1 2. That means what? Pi 1 2 means amount of the flux from the coil 1 interacting with the coil 2. Okay, so now I1 current is flowing. Pi 1 is the flux due to the current I1 in the coil 1, but part of the flux, almost 90 to 80% of the flux, will be linking with the secondary coil. Okay, that linkage I call it as pi12. That means amount of the flux linking from primary side to the secondary side, that is pi12. Okay, that depends on some k and pi1. Okay, so k means it is like some percentage, 90%, 80%, something like that. Okay, so what would be the value of k? The k value will be in between 0 to 1. Okay, in between 0 to 1, because if at all if there is no loss, then entire flux may link with the secondary coil. If loss is there, then only some amount, okay, around 50 to 80%, 90%, something like that. Okay, some percentage where the flux will be linking with the secondary coil. Okay, now so I can write this total flux like this pi1. Okay, pi1 means total flux. Okay, I can split into two terms. Okay, pi12 means mutual flux. Okay, the flux that is going to the secondary, mutual flux, the flux that is going to the secondary. Again, after this pi12, some flux will be there here, that the remaining flux I will call it as, because that flux has gone somewhere, that flux will call it as a leakage flux. Okay, it is not linking with the secondary. The idea of that one is the flux is there, but it is not linking with the secondary. Okay, I am having this much of flux. Out of this alone is linking with the secondary. This is not linking. That's why they call this flux as a leakage flux. This is like total flux at the primary side. Total flux at the primary side. Okay. Now, from this again, say for example, pi12 is the flux linking from coil 1 to coil 2. Okay, so this is pi12. You divided by I1 and into I1, and again d pi12 divided by dt is equal to pi12 divided by I1 di1 divided by dt. Okay, so again, you know, the EMF induced at the secondary side due to the flux linkage, because this flux is linking. This is the time varying flux. The pi12 is the time varying flux. It is linking at the coil 2. Okay, it is linking at the coil 2. Now, what is the EMF induced here due to this time varying flux pi12? Okay, the EMF induced at the secondary side due to pi12. What is that? Okay, so that is E2. E2 means EMF induced at the secondary side is equal to N2, the number of turns. It depends on the how many turns are there in the secondary side. Then what is the flux linkage? The flux linkage is d pi12 divided by dt. Okay, E is equal to minus N2 d pi by dt. Okay, now again, how can I modify this equation? Okay, so again, d pi12 divided by dt is there already. Okay, that you can substitute here. Once if you substitute minus N2, okay, pi12 divided by I1, and then di1 divided by dt. Okay, now this E2 is equal to minus M12, okay, di1 divided by dt. Okay, so again, from this equation, it is very clear the EMF induced at the secondary side, okay, depends on some inductance. That inductance is called mutual inductance. That inductance is called mutual inductance, because some flux is linking with the secondary. Okay, and again, that the ability of the flux, okay, how much, if it is more, the M value will be more. Okay, so that mutual inductance is M12, and also it depends on the time varying current at the primary side, because if the time variation at the primary side increasing, then the flux variation will increase. Then again, it will interact with the secondary, then it will produce the more flux. Okay, so again, from this also you can observe N2 pi12 divided by I1 di1 divided by dt. Okay, again, both are same. Okay, just we are writing in like a m. Okay, m. Okay, again, what it is indicating, N2 pi12 divided by I1. Okay, you are applying I1. Okay, again, you are applying I1, then you are producing the flux. Okay, then how much flux is linking with the coil 2, that is N2 pi12. Okay, how much flux is linking with respect to the current? Okay, that we call it as like a mutual inductance, M, again di1 divided by dt. Okay, so finally M12 means N2 pi12 divided by I1. Okay, so the mutual inductance value M12 is equal to N2 pi12 divided by I1. Okay, and then this pi12 can be replaced by k into pi1 N2 divided by I1. divided by I1. Okay. Okay. So again, from this, if you see, if you observe here, if you write it separately, okay, what is the mutual inductance value M12? How much current you are applying? How much flux you are producing? Okay, see, this is like a inductance value at the primary side, because at the primary side, if your inductance value is high, okay, number of turns and the inductance value of the inductor at the primary side is high, then it will produce more flux for a given current. Okay, how much flux that you are producing, that is pi 1 divided by I1 at the primary side. Okay, the flux to current ratio at the primary side, then how much is getting transferred from primary to secondary, that is determined by K. Okay, you have produced some flux with respect to some current, then how much is transferred to the secondary, that is decided by K. Okay, then even though it is transferred, how effectively your flux is utilized by the number of turns at the secondary side, that is decided by the number of turns at the secondary side, number of turns at the secondary. Okay, this is a simple formula. Okay, so your mutual inductance ultimately depends on many parameter that you have to understand. Okay, so here M is called a mutual inductance. So what is important, even though you transfer some flux from the primary to secondary, and what is important, how effectively it is utilized, okay, that is decided by the number of turns at the secondary side, that is N2, because in the simulation itself we have seen, okay, more the turns, we can produce more flux or more current or more EMF, something like that we have seen in the simulation itself, EMF simulation. Okay, so similarly again we can proceed for the next one. Similarly, pi 2 1 is equal to K into pi 2. That means what, if you have some flux at the secondary side, then what is the effect of that flux at the primary side? Okay, that is pi 2 1. Okay, flux from secondary to the primary. Okay, again here, so here the case is something like this. Suppose for example, if it is like this, okay, you are applying some EMF to the secondary side, some current I2 is flowing here, then it will produce some flux at the secondary. Okay, that flux we will call it as like a pi 2. Then out of pi 2, okay, some flux like pi 2 1 flux will be linking with the secondary, then it will produce EMF at the primary side. Then what is that EMF? Okay, this is pi 2 1 means flux from secondary to the primary. Okay, that is decided by K into pi 2. Okay, and again the EMF induced at the primary side E1 is equal to, again again similarly from the previous experience you can directly write, this is N1 pi 2 1 divided by I2, okay, di2 divided by dt, or otherwise E1 is equal to M21 di2 divided by dt, okay, or otherwise M21 is equal to N1 pi 2 1 divided by I2, or otherwise finally K pi 2 N1 divided by I2. Here you have to understand properly. Okay, if you observe the last one, I2 is the current you are supplying at the secondary side. Okay, because of I2, how much flux you are producing? Okay, out of that flux, how much is interacting with the first primary, that is decided by K. Okay, even though it is transferred to the primary, then how effectively that transferred flux is utilized by the primary, that is decided by the number of turns at the primary side. Okay, so finally K pi 2 N1 divided by I2. Okay, so we are having relationship for M12 and M21. Okay, again I write that M12 is equal to K pi 1 N2 divided by I1. Okay, K pi 2 N1 divided by I2. Okay, again which is equal to M21, which is equal to M21. Now my question is, okay, are these two are same or different? That is my question. Now the question is whether M12 is equal to M21 or not. That is my question. Anybody? யாராவது சொல்ல முடியுமா? M12 கிடைச்சிருக்கு. M1 means flux linkage from primary to secondary. M21 means flux linkage from secondary to primary. Now
No, sir.
M12 is equal to M2.
M12 is not equal to M21, sir.
Then why always you are not getting this one in the exam? You are getting only M. If it is not, okay, you have not seen this actually, but you are getting only M in the exams. They are not giving this separately.
Sir, I1, I2 is always different only, sir.
I1, I2 is different. Then what about pi 1, pi 2? Let it be I1, I2 different, no problem. What about pi 1 and pi 2? When you touch I1 and I2, what is happening pi 1 and pi 2? And again, N1, N2 is different. That I agree. N1, N2 is really different. It need not to be same. N1, N2 is really different. Okay. So I will try to prove that both are same. Okay, M12 is equal to M21. Okay, both are same. That means transformer is like a reciprocal device. That means if both are same, that means what? You can interchange your input and output. But with respect to N1 and N2, you cannot interchange because step up will become step down. But with respect to this mutual inductance concept, you may interchange. Okay, that we'll see whether again we'll not go to that much detail. Whether now we'll see whether this M12 is equal to M21. That we'll try to prove. Okay, both are equal. That is M. Okay, both are equal. That is M. We'll try to prove. Okay. So how to start? Okay, now I start with the trial and error. Okay, now N1 assume it is less value, N2 assume it is more value. Okay, N1 is less, N2 is more. Okay, so what happens? N1, N2, see, if you see here, N2 is more, we have assumed. Okay, you are applying some current. Okay, then it will produce some flux. That's okay. K is there. Then ultimately what will happen? Because of this N2 multiplying, then this may increase. Okay, this term may increase. Again, what happens here? Okay, and again N1 here, N1 is less. Okay, if you have more pi 1, what will happen at the secondary side? Okay, that will produce more. Okay, if pi 1 is more, the flux linkage to the secondary will be more, then that may produce more current. Okay, that may produce more current. Okay, again the more current at the secondary may produce more flux, but this N1 is less. Again, some way everything will be equal, but we'll try to prove that. Okay, you take M12 means K pi 1 N2 divided by I1. Okay, and again here K pi 2 N1 divided by I2. Now what is I1, what is I2? Okay, what is I1 with respect to primary side? Okay, what is I1, what is I2? The I1 at the primary side. Okay, what is I1? I1 means, see, the total okay, the ratio, the total flux at the primary is like N1 pi 1. Okay, N1 pi 1 L1 is divided by I1. Okay, the L1 means what? N1 pi 1 divided by I1. Okay, so that means what? I1 I can replace by N1 pi 1 divided by L1. I can replace like this. Okay, already you will have this equation. Okay, if you see before, okay, you will have that equation somewhere. Okay, if it is not here, you can bring that from the self inductance. Okay, as per the self inductance concept, I1 can be replaced like this. Similarly, I2 can be replaced by N2 pi 2 divided by L2. Okay, you can replace like this. Now what happens finally? pi 1 cancel, pi 2 cancel. Okay, finally what you are having, k n2 divided by n1 L1. Okay, k n1 divided by n2 L2. Okay, you are having this one. Again, k also you can cancel. Okay, k also you can cancel. Okay, once if you cancel the k you can cancel on both sides. If you cancel the k, you will get n2 divided by n1. Okay, n2 divided by n1, L1 is equal to n1 divided by n2, L2. Okay, and again, you know one thing from your experience, inductance always depends on number of turns square. Okay, so L1 means it depends on n1 square. Similarly, L2 means it depends on n2 square. Okay, again from this you can write n1 n2, again n1 n2. Okay, so ultimately your mutual inductance is this only. Okay, it remains same. Okay, somehow finally mutual inductance value M12 okay is equal to M21 is equal to M. Okay, your mutual inductance is constant. Okay, either you go from primary to secondary or secondary to primary, your mutual inductance value remains constant. Mutual inductance value remains constant. Okay, so we can use like a M. Okay, that is the idea. Okay. Now next we will see the relationship between the self and mutual inductance. Self and mutual inductance. So that's why once again the relationship between the self and mutual inductance. Relationship between self and mutual inductance. Okay, so just now we have proved M12 is equal to M21. Okay, from this again I can write I can write the two expression k pi 1 n2 divided by I1. Okay, k pi 2 n1 divided by I2. Okay, so this is the mutual inductance. You are applying current at I1, it produces flux at pi 1. Part of the flux is linking with the secondary coil. Again, this is the number of turns in the secondary coil. Okay, it's very simple. Like this, you have to go from I1 pi 1 k then n2. Similarly here also. Okay, again m both are same, so you can multiply. M square is k square. Okay, so again you can rearrange the terms n1 pi 1 divided by I1. Here n2 pi 2 divided by I2. Again, you know n1 pi 1 divided by I1, I can write like a L1. Okay, because this is L1. Okay, so m square is equal to k square, L1 L2. Okay, so m is equal to k L1 L2. Okay, this k is called coefficient of coupling. This k is called the coefficient of coupling. Again, already we have seen this value is between 0 to 1, or otherwise k can be written as k is m divided by L1 square root of L2. K is equal to 1 only for ideal transformer. For ideal transformer, k you can take like a 1 only for ideal transformer, but for all other practical transformer it will be between 0 to 1. Only for ideal transformer k value is 1. Okay, so this is the simple relationship between the self inductance and the mutual inductance. Okay, now we will see some problems based on this. Okay, and before that we'll see what happens when the inductances are connected in series and connected in parallel. But previously we have seen just like that we have seen, but here we'll see with the concept of mutual inductance. Okay, in the beginning of the course we have seen without the concept of mutual inductance, but if at all if mutual inductance is there, then how to include that. Okay, so inductance of coupled coil in series. Inductance of coupled coil, inductance of coupled coil in series. Okay, so first one is series aiding. series aiding. Okay, say for example, if you have a coil like this, again in series with another coil, now they'll put one a dot notation. Okay, they'll put one dot notation like this, then they'll provide that m. Okay, this is the mutual inductance between these two coil. Again, one thing you have to be very clear here, mutual inductance means it is for both. Say for example, if the current is flowing here, say some current is flowing here, then this will produce the mutual inductance in the coil 2. Similarly, if the same current will also flow in the coil 2, that time the coil 2 will produce the mutual inductance to the coil L1. Okay, so it is like two way. So this L1 also will produce mutual inductance to L2. This L2 also will produce mutual inductance to L1. Okay, that you have to be very clear. Okay, similarly, just now we have seen now in a parallel format. Okay, the mutual inductance will go from primary to secondary, as well as it goes from secondary to primary. Okay, similarly here also. So now what happens? Again, then what is the equivalent inductance finally? Okay, if the dot notation is not there, that means if the mutual inductance is not given, simply you can write L1 plus L2. Okay, but now this produces a mutual inductance to the coil 2, then again this is one time m. Okay, this produces to this one, similarly this produces to this one, then one more m. Finally this is L1 plus L2 plus 2m. Now whether we have to take plus m or minus m, this time I have taken plus m. Okay, but sometime I will take minus m. Okay, that depends on this dot notation. Okay, if the dot notation is at the entering side, because if you see this inductor here, the dot notation is like a current entering. While current entering, first you see the dot notation. Here also, when current entering, first you see the dot notation. Say for example, instead of dot notation here, they may provide here also. Okay, they will not give this one. Okay, if it is given like this, one dot notation is in the entering terminal, one dot notation is in the leaving terminal, that time you have to use minus sign. Okay, that time you have to use minus sign. So that is the dot conventions for the inductance series. Okay, so for this one it is plus. Okay, because both are like entering. Okay, here also entering terminal you are having dot, here also in the entering terminal you are having dot, so that's why this is plus 2m.